we're going through a volatile day. Bitcoin came towards 34,800. We just saw that dollar is breaking below a major support. We are watching altcoins repeating something which it has done in the past. So these kind of movements in the market is going to trap a lot of people. We just saw a break of the short-term trend line in XRP. We came down to the support level 1.608. Now we do have another one at the bottom, which is 0.58, but keep an eye on the Bitcoin. If we have flushed a lot of levered trades here, then most likely we would come back up towards 37, retest that range, and if that gets rejected, so you should be keeping an eye focused on this trend line. If we do bounce, we're going to come up testing around 36,700 towards 37,000. If we do break that to the upside, that's great. But it all depends on the macro. You're watching the stock market pushing higher, breaking this pattern, retesting and bouncing, confirming the breakout. So are we headed for a reverse market crash? Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. The market was super volatile today. We were going through the market as much as possible, trying to detail it so that you guys actually understand what we are looking at. Before we broke, we actually put this out saying, okay, watch this. And as we broke that, we told you, okay, watch, these are the supports. And here we are, we hit the support 1, we are trying to bounce off. The market is really volatile. We've been going through all of that, trying to explain what is happening. See, one of that is this. This pattern has been there for some time, and we almost reached back to that trend line to test that. So right now we are coming back to that trend line. We already reached that, wicked a little bit lower, and we are at that point. So once we understand what the market is trying to do, we kind of have a mentally prepared mindset as a trader. So now, if you look at XRP, things have been different. If you look at this, we've been talking about this from last couple of days, showing you, okay, we want this to happen. And when we were coming to break this a couple of weeks back, I told you, okay, we want to actually break this to the upside. We want to retest and bounce off. Now we're going for the retest. The issue is, on the short term, this volatility does not feel like it's a retest. It does not actually feel comfortable. And that is where you need to look at the market a little bit more deeply. You want to look at the market and identify what the market is trying to show you. See, if you actually remove all the noise from the market, then what you are most likely looking at is the actual price action. So now, on a daily chart, where the hell is our RSI? We still have a little bit more room. So to be precise, if we go on the RSI, doubling on it, we would actually see, okay, we have some more room to the downside in RSI. So for that to happen, either the price should consolidate here, or it should take another leg down with a retest. It does not have to break to the downside, but we do have a possible movement towards 0.58. You cannot price that out. But on a micro level, if you watch this, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5, that kind of feels like the flush is done. So if you actually use the patterns, you can actually identify like, okay, this is the ABCDE, which you are looking for your correction. So you got that leg, you got this. Now here we are, we're completing that. So if that's the case, we may consolidate here. And then before we move higher, we may actually see the price going up first to test this range and getting rejected to come back down and a bounce back. This double bottom should be a confirmation. Why? Because that also happens to be playing out in this bull flag. It is volatile for sure. Remember, 2 days, 3 days back, I was saying this. When the market goes up like this, there is a lot of weirdness in the market. Why? Because the whales does not want you and me to take profits like that. They will make this ride as tough as possible. Zoom out, go back to the times when the market was going up. It was not a straight line to the upside. It was not an easy ride to the upside. If you actually look at this, you may say, okay, that was one, that was two, then we had some correction. But just zoom into that range. You will watch the painful movements in the market. It was not easy. It was not easy. You did have the move up, you came lower, you went up. But within that, if you watch this, the market was sure volatile. Some of these retests kind of wicked even lower, kind of attracting a lot more people to short. And when they are in, the market just goes back up. They're trapped. So the liquidity is what the market makers are after. And they call it the dumb money. You don't want to be on that side, giving them your money and letting them call you the dumb money. You don't want them to be doing that. Now, on the positive note, what we should be looking at is, okay, what if, as we just discussed, the price is going to come down like this? Can that be this retest? RSI on the macro or weekly does show us there is a huge potential that this range can be something similar to what we are watching here on this range. So if that's the case, you have to go on a weekly chart and look at what the price action is showing you. Great. Now, with that price action, you just add on the RSI. And the RSI kind of says, okay, that kind of looks a lot in similar. I would say, okay, if the market shows you there is a lot similarities between these two events, I wouldn't actually move out of it. I wouldn't actually say this asset is not moving, all those negative stuff. You will see some volatility for sure. And if that's the case, you're going to bounce back up with a new high coming in. So for us to actually jump on to invalidate the recent high which we have put in, that is somewhere around $2. So you will watch the market going volatile. And the level of manipulation is going to be unseen this time with a lot of these institutions in. So if you actually dive into our 4-hour chart for the same, you'll also notice that there is something evolving, right? This is the trend. That's micro, for sure, it's micro. But you're watching, this is the pattern. So it's algorithms involved. So as the retailers like us are focused on this trend line and a fake breakout based on the news yesterday, now we are watching that breaking to the downside. So all those who bought in heavy levered trades in this range and kept their stop losses, just say about this range, now they're kind of getting kicked out. That's why this low of a wick, it came back down to this range, kicked a lot of people out. But that is on a 4-hour chart. If you actually want to zoom a little bit out, not to the daily, just to a 12-hour, to see, okay, macro guys, where would their stop losses be? This is one range. So that's why I was saying, okay, 0.61 is a beautiful range, 0.6 is a beautiful range. And in many exchanges, we have already taken that out. Why? That was a previous support, and most of them who trade with that stop loss would have put that stop loss here in this range. Now go to Binance or other exchange and look at XRP. You would watch the price piercing through that to 0.595. That says a lot. When you do that, the market is watching you, and the market or the big guys are trying to trade against you. So that's all the short-term things. Now think about this on a macro. The narrative here is kind of clear. You kind of get to understand, okay, this is what's happening. This is a short term. The RSI is already oversold for Bitcoin. Daily RSI is now here. Now, this was a chart which I prepared a while back. So now we'll have to go back on a daily chart. Yeah, we are still there. It's good. It's good. If you do break this down and get a daily close, maybe next 4 hours, that's bad. But if you don't, that is bullish. Each time you have bounced off from this level, you put in a new local high, which for me is great. Now, something which is easier for us to keep note of is this. You have not yet put in a lower high and a lower low. You're still forming higher highs and higher lows. So if you breach that, okay, now there is some corrective movements coming. We are literally watching for something close to 33. But if not, we are still holding on to that trend line. We are still holding on to this level as a retest range, which is actually a healthy move. So if you actually erase all this and go into a candlestick chart and ask the question like, okay, What if, say, the daily candle closes with all this carnage here? That would show you that it is staying above our support. That was a previous resistance. The price was slowing down. We broke that to the upside. Now we are retesting that. So now we zoom out. We want to see, okay, how relevant is that zone historically? And like, okay, couple of times we have respected that range and bounced off. Great. So if we can do that this time, it's good. We are following that. We will follow this up. And as the SI family is always well educated, I would say, like, if you are looking for these kind of updates, one by one, through the market, the macro, the micro, to give you real perspective of what's happening, so that there's a lot of guys on the other end who's getting shaked out, who's getting liquidated in the market because they don't actually care about these kind of things. From last couple of videos, we were highlighting the fact that we may actually come back down. XRP was showing us that probability, and now we have that. We actually reached the first level. If we drop a little bit, we have another which is close to 0.58. If a lot of people are getting liquidated, that is like, okay, now the price doesn't want to go lower. You don't have a lot of supply trapped in at that range. So now here you are on the altcoin session, excluding Bitcoin, obviously. This chart kind of shows you, okay, we just pierced through this trend line, which we have been following for last 30 days. Great. Have we seen something similar before? I'm like, okay, that looks a lot same like what we have now. Which means this area, what we have seen, is what we are most likely watching. Now, the reversal actually came in with a double bottom. The market showed you a double bottom before it actually went back up. So that's something to look for. Then it went up and hit the same exact trend line. Great. Then it slowed down, making a double top before it actually started correcting inside this bullish channel and went back up. Fine. So this is something we have seen in the history. So if that's the same story and that's the same director for the movie, then most likely the climax is also going to be same. We would do some kind of movement here and then bounce higher. That can be a trap if the RSI is not coming back up live. Because remember, on the short term, for last 1 year, we've been watching when the stock market go up, crypto market go down. For the last 1 year, we've been watching that. Whenever this is happening, crypto is low. Now, when the opposite is true, we are going up. But right now, you're watching the market moving higher. For one reason or the other, stock markets are going up. It may not feel like, okay, the economy is not good, but what the hell is happening in the stock market? But remember, market is always crazy. Market always does these surprising moves, and that's where a lot of people make money. Think about the reverse market crash. Patrick David was actually highlighting this and explaining this in detail. It's just like what we have seen here. A lot of people are not prepared and the price goes up, 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 up. Or on the other end, in reality, the purchasing power of your currency is getting hit hard. Those who are in assets, they make money. They grow their portfolio like crazy. Those who are in fiat just get hammered. But this time, when you have that kind of a scenario which comes in, watch gold, watch crypto, watch stocks, any kind of assets will gain in price. So that's what exactly you're watching in the gold as well. This is a time where you're watching the stock market going up, risk on mode. At the same time, you're watching gold respecting this trend. You broke to the upside, you came back, you're retesting this, and you're trying to bounce off. So if you break through this, that's like a confirmation. So it's literally like this. This is your trend. This is your continuation. You retest and bounce. By this range, the trend is now confirmed. You're going much higher. That's what it means for gold around 2,000 bucks. Now, take that to the crypto market. The entire crypto market, if you actually look at that, you can actually put the argument here like, okay, this is what we are actually looking at. Say on the crypto, the total crypto market is looking like this. Say you zoom out a little bit, not too much. What are we really looking at? This is a trend which we really want to observe. If we put that into a line chart, it would be much more easier. A retest of this range, and that's not the perfect line. A retest of this range, which would be somewhat here, and a bounce would be the area where the people who are on the sidelines would jump back into this asset. But do you really think this asset is slowing down and going down? I don't. Remember, we talked about the exact same scenario a week or two back, saying, guys, watch for this. Last time this happened, this is what happened in the market. If that's true, from that point towards next 190 days, you topped off. That's 5-6 months and it's done. That's the history, what we have seen. I will not go against the history saying I'm smarter than the history. I would argue that the same forces which are playing in the market back then in 2020, most of them are still relevant. I was there back in the market. I'm still here in the market. So I would assume a lot of people who were there in the 2020 area are still here in the market riding this. That's exactly why we are getting the same psychology in the market, which means crypto market is shaking a lot of weak hands here. It's about to do the same here and then pop off. Now, one of the easiest things for us to ask is, okay, if that's the case, last time when we did that drop and the consolidation, how long did it take to go up? We started the reversal by 35 days. So here we are, November the 14th. So which means mid-December, we should see the price bursting back up. Maybe a little bit earlier, maybe a little bit late. No one knows. But this is the exact trend the price is following. Watch the RSI. Watch the open interest into this asset. If that's building up so fast on a macro horizon, that means you may not have too much time. Second, you should be following the trend line and the support like crazy. The market is right now having some fake outs for sure, but a lot of respective movements, which means the previous support is turning into a resistance, You do get some fake outs here for sure. We'll differ that from here. And then if you watch that, the retest here and the breakthrough has been significant. Now, if we argue that perspective, okay, the crypto market is doing something, we may have to come back down to this range. That would actually push the market to say like, okay, that's true. That means the market is kind of moving in this direction. We broke higher, we retest and bounce. But what I'm personally thinking is if the market actually does that, that's giving a lot of people more opportunity to buy. So we go back in history. We want to see, okay, did the market allow a lot of people to do that? Usually the market does not do that. The market don't want you to get that amount of opportunity. Say this is the trend line you plot here. Did it come back down to retest that? No, that's exactly what the whales do. They don't want you and me to join the party. We will put our orders here and wait at this range. They would reverse the market from there and go boom. That took off actually. It did not come back down. Those who were waiting for that correction sat there waiting for the correction. And by the mid-range, they would have FOMO'd in. We don't want to do that. We want to position ourselves as much as possible in various assets which are showing the exact same thing, because this is the opportunity which you should be seizing. This is the opportunity which the market is showing you exist here. You don't want to go against it. You don't want to go against the trend. The trend is your friend. This is a daily chart. You go on a weekly, you go on a monthly, you get to understand the macro. What is the macro trend here? We started this bottom in June 2022. We were highlighting it on the trend line by the time we reached November 22, saying there's a divergence. Big guys are buying in. The price started moving up. A lot of people were still calling for 12,000. Believe me. A lot of people were saying, no, we are wrong. That's why these channels are small. But now we watch, no, hypers get a lot of views for sure, but this is what the market is showing you. Now, if we are to repeat that history in 6 months' time from here, when we are topping off or taking profits, people would say they turned lucky or it was just a coincidence. All those kind of things are going to come in. But if you think the amount of time we put into this channel is valuable, smash that like button for me. I appreciate that a lot. And if you want to go one-on-one session with me, going through your portfolio, discussing about the market and the possibility of you going in and getting into great trades, you can follow the SI family. There are like 675 plus members in this. It's like a family now growing as fast as possible. People have been looking for these and they are ready for it. Even we were seeing a lot of different things in the Telegram alerts with different tiers where I was giving them personalized opinion from my end. And they were like, okay, should I get out of this asset? Maybe a week back. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I think it's going to come back down. You can buy lower. They sold it day today. I was getting the messages like, thanks, bud. If you want to take benefit on that, look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below where you can actually get into me. That's if you are in YouTube. If you're on Twitter, look in the bio. I'll meet you guys on next video. Bye for now.